All right, here are the tools and supplies we're going to use to anchor the ATM to the floor. First off, we have our steel wire brush, 5/8 of an inch. Reason for this is when we drill our holes, we need to make sure it's super clean. Make sure there's no residue of concrete or dust on the sides so that the adhesive will adhere better. So wire brush, 5/8 of an inch. Hammer drill bit, 1/2 inch in diameter, 4-inch long. If you're gonna be drilling or anchoring the ATM on ceramic or granite or stone, you'll want to use a really good hole saw. In this case, I'd like to use Diamond Plus Milwaukee, 5/8 of an inch. You're gonna need a really good caulking gun. You can get away with using cheap ones, but personally I like to use a better quality one. As for the epoxy adhesive, I like to use UCAN Fastening products. The FR5 Max, it's anchoring adhesive. The way it works is you screw this and you put the tip that comes with it. And as you push it out, the two substances will mix together to form the epoxy. It's a 2-part anchoring adhesive, where in the middle you're going to have the epoxy, and then on the side you're going to have the other substance they use. Once it's mixed together, that's what makes it real hard and makes it the adhesive that it is. You're going to need miscellaneous washers. So if you use whatever comes with it, it only comes with a small washer. So imagine this, you have the ATM that's anchored to the floor. You want to make your surface area bigger, as big as you can. So I like to get bigger washers like this. That's how I would do it. So your surface area is bigger here, so it just creates better security, better protection from someone that's going to try to, yank it off the floor. So the bigger the washer, the better. Any kind of electronics compressed gas duster with the straw. Reason being that when you drill the hole, you want to go get the concrete that's left at the bottom of the hole. So you have to, use your wire brush, and then you use a little bit of compressed air, and it's just going to make the hole really, really clean. So, and then I like to use the wedge anchors, 3/8 of an inch in diameter, and I like to use 3 3/4 inch length. You can use other lengths and diameters if you want. So that's what it looks like. So because your hole is going to be a little bit bigger, 1/2 inch, your hole is going to be a little bit bigger than the actual wedge anchors. That's the formula to use when you're using adhesive, anchoring adhesive. Simply because your wedge anchor is smaller, and it leaves more room for the adhesive to work properly. Next tool I have is my Milwaukee M18 hammer drill and a vacuum cleaner from Milwaukee, so I can clean up the concrete that's left at the bottom of the hole. So that's pretty much all the tools and supplies you'll need to do the installation. There's different ways of doing it. I've done numerous ways over the years. Sometimes in the past I've done away with using adhesive. the only thing I did is, drilled a hole. Like this is a 3/8 of an inch wedge anchor, so I would drill the actual size of the anchor, 3/8 of an inch, and drive this right down, right? But what I've learned along with the years of doing this is that a lot of installs that I do, they don't have very good concrete, like good quality concrete. And drilling the hole with 3/8 of an inch or half an inch or whatever the dimension of the wedge anchors sometimes created issues, and it would become loose and this would turn in the hole. So I would drive this in and this would become loose and I couldn't put the washers and nut on it. So after a while I just said, hey, let's look at another method of doing it. So that's where epoxy came in, and ever since I've been really happy, and I don't think I'll go back to the other methods that I've used in the past. So that's why it's important, just drill one size bigger than your actual bolt, fill it, make sure it's super clean, fill it with epoxy glue, and then just drop this right in the middle, and probably within 5 minutes it's going to be kind of solid, so you can put the nut on and give it another half an hour, 15 minutes even, and then you can tighten your nut on it, and it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be securely anchored to the floor.
Now I'm going to show you how to bolt down an ATM. First off, you got to choose where you want to position it within the store. And just to keep in mind, it's very important to keep some clearance on the side, so you got to keep at least 6 inches on the back so you can run cords. And it's very important to have enough clearance here on the side, like here, for future diagnostics. I'll give you an example. You have to be able to open the door so it swings enough that you can pull the drawer up. If I would position it too close to something, to a wall or anything, then I can't open the door. Or I can't open the door enough, and I can't open the dispenser. So that's why it's very important to have enough clearance on the side so that you can pull the drawer out and do some diagnostics. Same thing on the back, just so you can run cords. So that's step number 1, is positioning the ATM at the right location. Alright, step number 2, we have it positioned exactly where we want. We have to mark our holes. So you take a permanent type of marker, and you mark 4 holes. It's very important that you don't drill inside the ATM, because this is going to create a lot of dust, and the dust is going to be so it's very important that you mark it and remove the ATM to drill it. You can't take a drill and drill inside of the ATM, because once you drill, it's going to create a lot of dust. Dust is going to be caked on all over the sensors inside the cash dispenser, and you're going to have a lot of problems. So you mark your ATM, then you close the door. So now we have our marking points, and we can drill. Alright, so in this example, we're drilling through ceramic. So what we have is a glass and tile bit, so we can get through the ceramic. There's multiple ways of doing this, but this is the way I've been doing it. So after you mark it and move the ATM, we're going to start by drilling. The instructions say to go at like a 45-degree angle. And remove it from hammer mode.
the trick here is to always have the surface lubricated with water so you don't burn out your bit. So it takes a lot of time and patience, but eventually it'll drill right through. So occasionally I just dip my bit right into the water so it cools off, and I add water to the surface, just like this. The other trick is to not go fast at all. You have to remain steady and slow speed, or else it's going to burn the tip off the bit. Alright, and I forgot to mention at the first start of the video the hardware we are using. So we're using wedge anchors that are 3/8 of an inch in drill size, and so 3/8 by 3 3/4. So that's the hardware that I'm anchoring the ATM with. Also, I'm using epoxy glue. I like this system simply because, you know, even if you drill a little bit sideways, or the hole is too big, or they have weak concrete, or whatever the reason may be, you're not going to have an issue. You can simply put epoxy, fill the hole with epoxy, and put this in, and it's going to be very, very solid. So I've never ran into issues with that, and that's the system I'm using. I never had any problems. So now that we've removed the first layer, which is the ceramic, we're down to the bare concrete. So now we have to drill through the concrete. So yeah, that's what we'll do. Alright, so now to drill through the concrete, I have my Milwaukee hammer drill, hammer mold, and like mentioned, what I'm going to do is I have a little tape right here to show me exactly where to stop drilling. So once I put a little piece of tape on the drill bit to show me where I have to stop drilling. So once that's done, I'm ready to drill through the concrete. This is how it's done. Okay, so now that our 4 holes are drilled, the very important thing about using epoxy is that we have to clean the hole really, really good so that the epoxy can set and cure really good. So first things first, we have a vacuum, we have a brush, and some compressed air. So I'm going to do the first pass and just cleaning off what the residue from the initial drilling. Once that's done, I'm going to use my brush, just try to scrub the interior wall like that. Then give it another pass with the vacuum. Now what I'm going to do is use compressed air, blow it in there, just to get the all the particles and the dust that's settled at the bottom of the hole.
once again, when working with epoxy, it's a very, very good anchoring product. It's just you have to make sure that the hole is super clean from all debris, like dust, cement, whatever. It has to be very, very clean so that this will adhere correctly. So that's it. All right, so now we're ready to put the epoxy in the hole and hold down our ATM. So we've got a brand new epoxy tube with the proper tip. So what we're going to do is, the color that it's supposed to be like a gray color. So we're just going to wait till we get that consistency in that color, just like that. So, and you start off with filling from the bottle, the bottom. So you make your tip go all the way to the bottom, and you fill to about 3/4, a little bit over 3/4, just like that. This will cure very quickly, so you got to make sure that your bolts are all prepared and your ATM is really close, so you can do this really quickly, especially in the summer. It cures very quickly. So we're going to put this aside right now. We're position back our ATM. What I do is I always put the anchor in the first hole that I filled with epoxy, and as I'm driving this through the hole, I'm spinning it clockwise, just like this. Now I'm going to go crisscross to the other corner, make a little adjustment on the ATM like this, as needed, and I'm going to drive it through the hole, spinning it clockwise. Just like this. And we'll repeat the process right here. Just like that. And for the last one, Alright, so that is how you anchor an ATM using the epoxy product. So that's it. In probably 5 minutes it's going to be fully cured and fully anchored, and you can move on to doing other things like programming your machine or whatever. So that's the video is just for holding it down and anchoring it on the floor.